I almost threw away my entire life savings just to fit into a cultural lie. I was terrified. Every single person in my life kept repeating the exact same phrase over and over like a religion. If you rent, you are flushing cash down the toilet. Buy a house, build equity, secure your American dream. So I ran the numbers, and the real-world math almost made me throw up. The homeowner lost $410,000 over 10 years, while the renter walked away with $230,000 in liquid wealth. That was the exact moment I realized home ownership had quietly mutated. It stopped being a path to freedom and became a predatory trap. It is an emotional trap, and if you feel guilty or embarrassed every single month when you hand your money over to a landlord, you are caught right inside it. Think about how deeply we have been brainwashed. You grow up hearing the rules. You go to school, land a decent job, save up for a down payment. You get told that paying rent is pure financial suicide because you're paying off someone else's mortgage. So you stress out. You pinch pennies for 5 years. You skip vacations. You finally cross the finish line, hand over every dime of your liquid cash, and get the keys to your brand new front door. You expect peace. You expect victory. Instead, the instant you close on that property, an invisible, ravenous monster wakes up inside your house. The system tells you that rent is the ceiling on what you spend every month, but it conveniently forgets to mention that a mortgage payment is just the absolute floor. The property taxes jump without warning. The roof starts leaking. The water heater explodes on a freezing Sunday night. Suddenly, your dream home isn't an asset. It's an unyielding cash drain that eats your weekend, drains your energy, and forces you to stay trapped in a stressful job just to cover the unrecoverable carrying costs. You aren't struggling because you failed. You are struggling because the rules of the real estate game completely broke in 2026, and nobody bothered to warn you. It leaves you house rich and cash poor, staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, wondering where all your hard-earned money went. And worst of all, it makes you feel like a failure for renting, when renting might actually be your greatest financial shield. Breaking free from this guilt requires stripping away the emotion and treating housing like an engineering problem. Here is the exact math that saved my sanity and built my liquid wealth engine. When I hit my breaking point, I stopped comparing a rent check to a mortgage payment, because comparing rent to a mortgage is a fundamentally flawed calculation. You have to compare unrecoverable costs against unrecoverable costs. Unrecoverable cost bucket number 1 is your rent check. When you hand your landlord $2,000, that money is gone forever. Zero return. That is the part everyone understands. That is the part your parents warn you about. Now look at unrecoverable cost bucket number 2, the hidden ownership drain. This is where the massive psychological trap hides. When you pay a $3,000 mortgage payment in 2026, where does that cash actually go? At today's interest rates, the vast majority of that monthly payment doesn't touch your principal equity for years. It goes straight to the bank as pure interest. That money is gone forever. Then come property taxes, gone forever. Homeowners insurance, gone forever. HOA fees, maintenance, structural repairs, and special assessments, all gone forever. When I added up the unrecoverable interest, taxes, and repairs on a typical home today, it was significantly higher than the total cost of renting an identical space down the street. People scream, "But rent goes up every year." Sure, rent increases, but your landlord is also forced to absorb the cost of a new furnace, a fresh roof, and skyrocketing property insurance premiums. Your rent is the maximum amount of cash you will spend on housing this month. A mortgage is the absolute minimum amount you will spend. Here is how I used this simple blueprint to flip the script and win. I decided to intentionally rent a modest, clean apartment below my financial means. Instead of stretching my monthly budget to pay for empty bedrooms and interest to a bank, I capped my housing costs. Then, I took the exact difference, the thousands of dollars I would have lost to down payments, interest, taxes, and maintenance, and redirected it. I built a 3-tier asset staircase. Step 1, a bulletproof 6-month liquid cash buffer sitting in a high-yield account, giving me total immunity from life emergencies. Step 2, automated monthly transfers into low-cost index funds that capture global economic expansion without me swinging a hammer. Step 3, buying actual yield-producing assets when the price is right, rather than overpaying for a primary residence out of panic. While homeowners around me were stressing over foundation cracks and maxing out credit cards for emergency repairs, my capital was quietly multiplying in the background. Renting didn't make me poor. Renting gave me the operational flexibility and monthly surplus cash flow to buy my freedom. The mental relief of running this system is life-changing. You stop feeling guilty when you write your rent check on the first of the month. You realize that rent isn't throwing away money, it is purchasing flexibility, capping your downside risk, and buying you the freedom to invest your surplus cash into real growth. I went from feeling ashamed for not owning a home to building true financial momentum in less than 12 months. Not because I got lucky or inherited a fortune, but because I stopped listening to 50-year-old financial advice and started looking at the cold, hard numbers of 2026. You do not need to buy a house to build real wealth in America today. You just need to control your unrecoverable costs, ignore the cultural pressure, and let systematic investing do the heavy lifting for you. If you want to run your own numbers and see whether renting or buying actually makes financial sense for your paycheck, I built a tool for you. I took the exact unrecoverable cost calculator and asset tracking sheet I use every month and turned it into a clean, free Google sheet you can plug in your rent, local housing prices, interest rates, and see your exact wealth gap trajectory in real time. You can download it completely free using the link down in the description below. No paywalls, no hidden courses, just a tool to help you make smart decisions. If this math made sense to you, drop a comment with your thoughts, hit that subscribe button, and join our community of people taking back control of their financial future. Stop letting guilt drive your financial decisions. Run the math, build the system,